everyone. Today I'm with Adam. He is a butcher, meat processor, and hunter, and so I figured he might know a thing or two about meat. Thank you so much, Adam, for giving me the chance to interview you today.
Of course, thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Happy to talk to you guys.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I've checked out his chickens and his goats, and they're pretty cute. They're climbing all over my SUV right now. There's a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to meat. Today we're going to set the record straight and try to help others figure out how to buy the best meat for their families. What inspired you to raise your own livestock?
I think just having a better relationship with what you eat in general, plants or animals, for me was important. And as a young person, I realized that if I ever wanted to have a family, it would be an important thing for me to be able to bring to them and bring to the table.
Yeah, and you said the first time you tried some really good meats, you didn't want to turn back, right?
Yeah, you know, I grew up working in really nice restaurants, really young, and I decided I really needed to eat well the rest of my life. And if I wanted to do that, I needed to get as close to the production source as I could.
So with that being said, what can you tell us about the meat that we find in grocery stores?
Well, I would say from a labeling perspective, there's only 5 things that are required on a meat label. That'd be the product, the USDA, inspection and processing location, address, weight, and ingredients. Other than that, all that other labeling is still subject to USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, and FSIS, Food Safety and Inspection Services. So any additional labeling, whether it be cage-free or free-range or local or hormone and antibiotic-free, all those are still subject to regulation and oversight, but they're not required. That being said, there's a lot of deceptive packaging out there, and I think really looking at some of the key phrases that marketers use and often overuse, and then actually looking at the regulations. In my opinion, the standards aren't that high. So really look into what the difference might be between a marketing phrase and a raising standard. So there's some optional stuff that are often found on labeling, and these are claims. This is a claim about the diet, the animal welfare, and the raising conditions. So these are the 3 I think most people are concerned about in this arena. And that just, again, requires a closer look at what you want and what you're looking for. So that covers the labeling aspect.
What do you think about the standards when it comes to that labeling? For example, I've heard that free range might only mean that they've been out like once in their life. Is that correct?
Well, that's exactly what is the possibility. So again, with all these claims, you would have to look into the regulations, the oversight, whether they met that, how often they get inspected. It could be a once a year inspection. They come check you off, okay, the conditions are right, and then once they turn away. So the best practices for me is, again, it goes back to that, knowing the source of production the best I can. And with modern technology and the resurgence in quality local meats, we have the opportunity and the options out there to look at that, find it, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to the person or be just one step away from someone that actually knows, and we can check in on a regular basis on that animal's welfare.
Yeah, so you really need to be educated on your sources of meat and not to necessarily be fooled by specific labels. To me, all natural on meat is kind of weird.
Pretty broad description, yeah. And you just really, there are a lot of phrases out there that are marketing tools. And they grab your attention and they get you to make decisions based on emotion, which we know happens, and it's not always the best way to make a decision.
What would you say the healthiest and most environmentally friendly way is to obtain meat?
Well, I heard a saying recently when it comes to dieting that you can eat anything you want on a diet as long as you make it from scratch yourself.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
So I'd say the most environmentally friendly is to do it yourself, whether that be raising your animals or hunting, something people have done for thousands of years. And again, it's working hard. So you really understand the work that goes into some of these food sources. And for me, it helps me understand habitat, you know, how that animal interacts with nature, and giving me a deeper understanding and connection, not only with what I eat, but with just the natural world around me in general. So those are the two best. If you can't do that, there are plenty of people out there that are willing to help you and teach you and kind of guide you along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard that pasture raised is always the best, especially with the regenerative agriculture aspect. Not only giving you the most nutritious form of meat, but also helping the environment.
Well, in my experience, a lot of the good producers will say they're not growing animals, they're growing grass. And they put a lot of natural input into keeping their pastures healthy and doing good rotational grazing methods. And again, they want to keep the land as healthy as possible because these generational people, they want to give that to their kids.
Yeah.
Some of the concentrated, the agricultural feedlot operations, they're not necessarily looking to pass that on. So the genuine people really want to take care of that land in the long term. If you look at the American prairie, it was at its healthiest when we had millions of buffalo roaming around. And when they were taken in a sustainable manner, it was a win for everybody. So if we can mimic that model, rotational grazing, good grassland, then we're all gonna be healthy.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. I love that. And I truly have been learning about this and through Adam, of course, myself. I used to kind of be fooled by some of the all natural labels and stuff. So thank you for that. On that note, where do you recommend that we get quality meat?
The best way to get quality meat is look for a quality butcher shop or processor and ask them where they get their meat from. If they don't know, then move on. They're popping up here in Florida. They're definitely out there. It's great to see a big turnaround coming, and hopefully there was a lot of grants from the USDA recently to open new processing facilities. Hopefully that can happen and we can get more local animals on the market available for consumers. There's plenty of shares out there for cattle especially. There's lots of people raising hogs and goats, plenty of people raising chickens. So my biggest advice is just go out and talk to your neighbors. Talk to the people in your community, ask them if they know somebody or know somebody that knows somebody. That's how we met, just
Facebook group.
Community interaction. Just start talking to your neighbors. Maybe your neighbors will want to get chickens and maybe you'll get a couple of goats and you can share. Maybe you'll go into gardening and share their work on that, because ultimately it's sharing this kind of work that's healthy and environmentally sound, and that's no different between meat and plants. So just talk to your neighbors.
And down in the description, I will put a few services that I've heard of that ship pasture-raised meat, but of course, supporting your local agriculture is really the best way to go. So Adam, is there any way you could recommend saving money while buying this quality meat? Because a lot of us know that, buying pasture-raised meat is a little more expensive than buying other forms of meat at the grocery store.
Well, the best ways I can think of is look for some of the odd cuts, some of the less popular things, shanks, short rib, some of the tougher cuts, and just do a little research on braising or sous vide methods that may give you a more tender product. So utilization of offcuts is a good way. Portion control. We don't always necessarily have to have an 8-ounce hamburger with a little piece of lettuce, a slice of tomato, 2 pickles.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're great, but portion control, really looking at some other cultures and how they see the relationship between starch, vegetables, and meat and how much of each should be in a dish can give you a lot of hints on how maybe you can save and cut there. Those are the two that come to mind immediately.
Yeah, and I mean, we're eating too much animal products. And in the long term, eating these large amounts of meat and animal products that are low quality are going to eventually run up our doctor bills. So if you can look a little bit into your, hopefully not near future, but into your future and see the consequences of not choosing quality meat. I mean, another important aspect is that it affects the environment massively to be buying poor quality conventional meat. So
consider it as an investment in your future and your kids' future. to eat healthy, eat quality, you know, pay a little bit more up front so you're not paying for it and they're not paying for it later.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a family of 6. Our groceries are very expensive, but one way that we make our plates more healthful, save more money, is to cut, like he said, cut down the amount of meat you're eating and then supplement some of that with plant-based proteins, you know, mixing up high protein beans, tofu, and higher protein grains such as quinoa. You're gonna save money on that pasture-raised or better quality meat, as well as make you and your family much healthier. Oh, he must be processing some great meat because he's on a waiting list. But he's gonna give us a list of different ranchers that you can reach out to as well. So we'll put that in the description. I'm assuming that's more Florida.
Oh, they're all Florida. It's from South Florida. I got a couple in Georgia too. But yeah, we can get a list of where some people can get some good meat.
Awesome. And again, I'm gonna list a couple that are, you know, deliver around the U.S. We got a train. Well, thank you so much, Adam.
Of course,
I really
thanks for coming out.
Appreciate you. I've learned so much about meat. One of my biggest goals right now is to, you know, figure out how to get the best quality meats, as well as just help the environment, because conventional farming and agriculture right now is hurting the environment. So I, as well as a lot of other people, are trying to find solutions for that. So thank you so much for your support, guys. If you have any questions, please leave a comment at the bottom. And thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.